Hello, I'm Kyle, and this is Give Pause Hobby. Welcome to the State of the Hobby, first episode of this new venture on a channel filled with new ventures. I feel like this is a pretty good one, and I'll talk more about it later, about like the history of how I came to this. But right now, the 10-cent version is it's going to be me talking quickly about what I've been playing. What's new, what's been on my mind, and also one topic at the end that might be different. I think this is roughly going to be a monthly series in addition to everything else I have going on. If you are, fans of the channel, you know that there's lots of root content, there's lots of solo board game content, lots of teaching stuff because I'm a teacher. That's what I do. But it's fun to have videos where I don't have to go into the teacher voice all the way through and try to explain things very cleanly. I can just be excited. So, again, I'll talk more about that, but for right now, we're going to dive into, I don't know, this might not have the same segments. We're still feeling it out. It's episode 1 after all. But the first thing that came to me for a segment idea is what we're calling You've Been On My Mind and My Table. So this is where we talk about games that are taking up headspace, rent-free, as the youth say, and hopefully also getting to the table, which are not always, they don't always go together. Sometimes we have games that are on the table that we don't think much about. Other games we think a ton about and we just can't get them to the table. So first and foremost, if this becomes a monthly thing, it'll probably be a shorter list for all these. So I had to really prune this list because theoretically it goes back as far as forever. But in the somewhat recent past, there is one that looms pretty large over all the others, and that's Marauder. I guess I should say Root in general, because the Marauder expansion brought 2 new factions to play. It brought ad sets set up. It brought the hirelings, and the community has brought ways to implement the hirelings with the root bots, and it has landmarks. It's just a tremendous amount of content for a game that I think is tremendous. So I guess that's tremendous. Would that be tremendous times 2 or tremendous squared? Either case, it's a lot of it. And I think what's really one of the most exciting things in Root for me in recent time, aside from over the past 6 months, I've been on a process of filming, editing, and posting all the Rootbot content. Finished that up last school year at some point. But now I'm getting back into it. We're in the cycle. We're coming out of production cycle and into a development cycle. So we're on the community side. So we have ideas for what the new bots might be coming up, piecemeal from individuals, and not just the people you expect them to, but folks who just want to give it a shot. And so I'm really excited to be reconnecting with that part of the game and content creation. But honestly, the most exciting thing was that this summer I taught 4 brand new players Root, and I just played Super Table Nanny to answer questions that they might have, and they all walked away super excited. Actually, one was kind of unnecessarily sour. He was super close to actually winning as the Crows, but he's just super competitive, and since he didn't win, he saw that as a big L. But it was a tremendous dominance play by the Rats of all things. So yeah, super fun. Root, continue to love it, and looks like I will for the foreseeable future, which I'm okay with. All right, next up, Old King's Crown. This is a upcoming game, and if you've been on social media and you follow Pablo Has a Deadline, you know the art in this game is ridiculous. Just super duper, super like detailed, and there's so much rich lore built into every image. And then you see images of like the cards themselves, and you realize there's even more story that's just seeping out of these, like just the names of the cards, the 4 factions. It's a whole one of those situations where the king or the ruler of whatever type of political system they have is not there, and so there are factions who want to say, we think we should be in charge. And super compelling, the royalty or the monarchy, nobility, there it is, the powers that be, the kind of bomb throwers that want to tear it all down, the clans from the wild that want to bring things back to nature, and then a shadowy organization that I didn't really play as, because I was lucky enough to do some playtesting with the designer and the artist and the 2-man crew, and it was wonderful. Even though I'm in Minnesota and they're in Scotland, we made it work, or rather they made it work because they were up way later than I was, and the game is incredible. Lots of bluffing, card play. It's becoming even more asymmetric, and I just cannot wait for more of that. Yeah, Old King's Crown, check it out. For an older game, Bargain Quest has hit our table, and I completely forgot how much I really adore this game. Honestly, it's been so long that it's actually been on my do I cull this? I've slowly been warming up to the idea that my collection can't just be a gains game situation. It has to have an outflow every now and then, and this has survived a couple of those just narrowly, and I'm really glad it did. My wife and I, we played a game, and we did a couple of house rules. Well, we did one. We added, usually it's the number of players, the number of heroes in town, and we did players +1. So there's an extra hero just for more variety. Next time, we're going to try players +1 for the health of the big bad bosses as well. Usually that's just as many number of players as there are. And then we're also going to say whatever hero didn't get chosen by the 2 players just makes $5 in town doing chores, like the normal, there are rats in my cellar, help, beginning of RPG stuff. And there is an advanced 2-player mode in the rulebook, but I really don't care for the 2-player modes that are just like, you just do twice as much, and that's kind of what it is. So we're trying our hands out at this new way of looking at it because I think it's awesome. A couple more things real quick. Tapestry. This one I'm really late to the game on this. I don't know why I didn't think I was going to like this game, because I really like it, and so does my wife. And it plays really great at 2. I played it at 3. It played really great there too. We have the Plans and Ploys expansion, not Arts and Architecture yet, but I'm sure we will at some point. But we did get these big chonky, the level up bits from BGG, and they're way better than using the little cubes for everything. So there's that. Except they don't come with the Arts and Architecture like trackers, which doesn't affect us now, but will at some point. Last but not least, Cartographers. Again, super late to the game on this. I have never played it physically. I don't own it, but I do have the app, and the app plays are just like boop, 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 just climbing the charts for my most played games ever because it's super quick. Honestly, it's endangering me ever getting the physical game now because I'm sure, spending time coloring in with especially colored pencils could be fun and like a little different side to the game. But it's just so fast, so snappy on the app. It's super fun. There's also no expansions on there. So obviously if you want to experience that, or if I want to, I got to go to the physical copy. So that's what's been on my mind. Again, it's a lot because this has been whatever came before this first episode. I'm not putting like a strict time limit on these episodes, but I really don't want them to be my normal fare of 30 to 45 minutes. Though this one might be close-ish to 30. We're going to try to make that not the case. So next segment, again, no promises that these songs will remain for all of the episodes. But what's that? Hey, look out for that FedEx truck. The new game in town. It just showed up on my door. That's right. That's a Hairspray reference. I'm a middle school teacher, and here's the games that have arrived at the scene of the Frost household, and I'm really excited about. So, Marvel United, specifically X-Men, and the original expansions that I didn't go in on. I only got the Guardians of the Galaxy one on my first Kickstarter with Marvel United. So I wasn't sure how much I wanted to dive in, even though they look cool. And we were told that they were all going to retail, which did not happen at all. So when the second one came out, that was the opportunity to get all these other sets, aside from, way more money on secondary market. So I got the core set and almost all the expansions from the first one, only one expansion from the new one, and then I actually sold my core set of X-Men and the stretch goals, because I don't know the X-Men expanded universe that much, so that stretch goal box was just filled with a bunch of people I've never heard of before in my life. And I found the core box for cheaper on Amazon later on. So really, if I had the option of just ordering add-ons, I would have, but CMON didn't let us, so I had to make it my own. Anyways, I'm really liking Marvel United still. It's also a great game that I've been introducing to new people whenever I have the chance. Just a quick, fun game, and I love how much character that are put into these decks of seemingly very similar cards. They really do make the heroes feel different, which is awesome. Aside from that, Resist just showed up, a solo game that is just super brain burny, and I'm very not good at it. It's about trying to manage these Spanish maquis, the freedom fighter types, these normal people that can either do a little bit of good but stay hidden from the Spanish forces, or they go full on rebel and blow their cover and do a lot of good, but then you can't use them anymore because the assumption is they are captured. They're just not an asset to you anymore, aside from that one big moment they had, which is, I think, super thematic. I will be the first to admit I don't know enough about the history, but I love when games have that feeling I think this is going to get me to learn about it, not specifically through the game, but just to learn more about it because I like the game so much. And there are a ton of different scenarios. There's a narrative kind of plot line that you can take. It's just a super fun game. I'm just playing the base game, and again, not doing very well, but I'm enjoying it. So that's something. Not a solo game. Micro Macro. It's new to us. The next three are new to us. Micro Macro, Undaunted, and Dungeon Drop. Micro Macro, super fun. Just spread the map out, go through the clues, trying to figure out who done it, the murder mystery or the thief or the whatever the crime is. You're trying to track them through the city, which is really neat because it's all timelines condensed into one. So you might see a person as they get up in the morning, go to the bus stop, get off the bus, go to work. They're on the same map, so you can follow them through time. But when you kind of zoom back, you obviously don't notice that because it's all black and white. So it just looks like this bustling metropolis, but there's all these storylines woven into it. Again, I'm preaching to the choir to a lot of people, I'm sure, who know the game. I mean, I think, was it a Spiel des Jahres winner? I know it had some serious critical acclaim of some sort that I can't remember, but it's very good, and we're enjoying it quite a bit. I have no idea. Supposedly, there's a leveled up version where all you have is the first and last card. You have the intro and then who killed the person and nothing else, which is Sherlock Holmes level ridiculousness. Undaunted, again, late to the game, it rules. For just this boiled down World War II one-on-one it's a really interesting deck building mechanic, and taking hits just loses you cards from your deck, which means you can't control those units. And I just think it's very spiky. It is very zero-sum game. You winning a hit means your opponent losing a card. And when that card is a card that's in their hand, it is like nails on a chalkboard, like wincing moment. Honestly, for both players, until you get to a level where you're both comfortable with the game, in which case it's just wincing for them and you just like smile. But we only have the base game. I know there's a solo expansion I'm super excited to check out at some point. Dungeon Drop is a super fun, just kind of quick playing game of trying to maximize getting stuff out of a dungeon. I picked it up when I was in Oklahoma for 2 weeks this year for $20, the base game, and they had the expansion right there. I was like, I don't know. I know my brain is one that as soon as I see expansions, I want to get them, even if I have no reason to be getting expansions yet. We played the base game a few times. I went back to the same FLGS in Lawton, Oklahoma, and picked up the expansion like 5 days later. So super fun. I haven't actually played the expansion yet. We didn't play it after I got that, but really looking forward to using it. And last but not least, I already talked about Root and Marauder, so I don't need to go into more of that, but it's just wonderful in all the ways that Root is wonderful, in look, in feel, in crunchy decisions, in just everything. It's my favorite game by a country mile, and it only gets better with every release. Also, Clockwork 2 came along with Marauder, and chef's kiss. Very, very, very good. And the last section, again, these are probably going to be shorter in future episodes. The last one might be the longer of the 3 sections because it's going to be open to one topic that I choose. So, again, not saying this music is going to stay forever, but what's your aim, man? Talking about this thing right here. Bam! That might be the worst one. Probably one of the more notable or recognizable of the 3, but the poorest performed. So, talking about this thing right here, just what I'm doing in this space, talking to you and not about any game in particular. This is something that at the beginning of me making videos for the channel was the furthest thing from my mind. For the longest time, I didn't even show up on camera until I think it was when I tried reviewing stuff for the first time, and then I was finally on screen. And it wasn't until a lot later that I had something more like this, a conversational thing, and that was when I was talking about Warcry and modeling and Kill Team, when I was getting into that. But even that was a little bit too structured, and I'm not going to lie, the mode and the content and the subject matter of that show, of that idea, just made a ton of work on the back end, which my videos already have enough work that I need to do to put them together, to make sure that they're as accurate as possible, as helpful as possible. I'll obviously trying to film and edit the best I can, given the circumstances of being in a green screen situation, which in the future I would love to not be, because that's just a huge hassle. And to have a place that I could call my own, that I don't need to move stuff to actually record in. But for the time being, it works. And you know, I think over time, I love what I do in the channel, which is teach people things that I know, that I am passionate about, because that's what I do during the day. But there's just not enough hours in the daytime for me to talk about all the things, all the game experiences. So anyways, we'll see. Are you interested in what I have, what I've been playing? This last category could be, a whole bunch of anything. It could be about, how I'm choosing which games I'm culling. It could be about how I'm successfully trying to reduce like Kickstarter and GameFound pre-orders and all that sort of stuff. Just a different thing each month, whatever is on my mind. And then, the games have been hitting my table. Sound off down below if you're normally checking out the channel and then this is also something you're interested in, or also sound off if you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, all this other root stuff. I'm just found this video and hopefully you enjoy it, and then maybe you go check the other stuff out. If you like root, there's a bunch of stuff that you might be interested in. Sidebar. But that's all I have for you today for the first episode of State of the Hobby. Just talking about why I love what I do in my free time, because I talk I go deep into a lot of different topics. It's fun to just talk broadly, to talk wide about why I like the board game, card game, the whole shenanigans. Oh, card games, Netrunner. I've never played it before. I was taught it. It's awesome. I'm getting into Project Nisei, which is potentially dangerous, which then led to my friend who taught me Netrunner asking me about Keyforge. And at first I was like, yeah, I kind of bounced off of it. Haven't played it since the base set. And then I found out that there's a reboot, and that's also super dangerous. So stay tuned. There might be more to talk about on those topics. But in any case, thanks for taking a pause at Give Pause Hobby, and I will see you next time. Not with one of these. We have more root stuff and other teaching and things like that coming up, and in about a month or so, we'll reconvene and talk about what I've been playing. So, thanks everybody. Bye.